Peace, peace, peace. Who we got in here with us? Yo. Greetings. What's up, General Roger? Yeah. Peace to you.
Peace.
Yeah.
Peace, 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 peace.
Hope y'all day going well. Hope the day has been well.
Hopefully you're making your day great.
Goddess T, Ashe. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully y'all here
Michelle.
because you saw us
Peace.
send out the mobile announcement. Sometimes we know you don't get the notifications from YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So we made sure we sent the mobile announcement out that we were going to be discussing. Yeah, a lot of things that need to be discussed
Mm-hmm.
regarding trauma and shame and the connection to a lot of the sexual leakages of energy where we're not really utilizing the energies properly. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, just very imbalanced. So yeah, we wanted to talk about that. We're kind of going in another direction right now. So
Yeah.
peace to you, peace to
Yeah.
you.
Peace, peace, peace. We want to just announce also that we are going to be announcing the winner, our winner for submitting testimonies. So we do
Yes.
have a winner that has been selected, and they will be receiving a free gift. And so we will make that announcement at the end before we get off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So peace to everybody. We usually do a roll call before I even get started. Was anybody
Yeah.
else? General Ruger. Peace to
Yeah. Oh, there's
you.
Rube. I said Raj.
Yeah.
Yeah. To money, Astrid.
Peace to you.
Mm-hmm. I think that's it. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
All right. All right, cool.
Yeah, it is an important topic. Very important topic.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Um, we have realized that for every human being here, you some way had an experience that caused you to not feel safe in relationships with people. And for a lot of us, that started with our parents.
Mm-hmm.
All of us are here as a result of sex. Yet, so many of us have
Peace, peace.
issues in those areas that go unaddressed. And so, I felt like we needed to give a voice to that because when you don't address it, then by default, you're going to suppress it and avoid and deny it, right? And not deal with it. And what happened, and this is not just sexual trauma. This is because when you think sexual, first let me say this: when you think sexual is the interaction of two different energies, two polarizing energies. It is the penetration, the giving and the receiving, the in and the out. It is the
Mm-hmm.
breath. It is the movement of life itself. It is
Yeah.
creation energy. It
Yeah.
is alchemy. It is
Mm-hmm.
the ability for your heart to be open, just open to life.
Mm-hmm.
We're healing so that we can be more open because we can feel the places where we're closed. We can feel the places where we don't trust. We can feel the
Mm-hmm.
places where we feel insecure about ourselves. We can feel the places that feel vulnerable. And
Mm-hmm.
so we try to avoid that. And so, coming to the conscious community, for those of us who came through religion, a lot of the trauma that we experienced, it came through religion and a lot of programming and indoctrination. And look how much bloodshed it took to solidify those belief systems. So
Mm-hmm.
you're in a soul contract with an entity that has already basically told you what you can and cannot do with your sexual organs.
Mm-hmm.
That you had to put fig leaves over it when you were Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden.
Mm-hmm.
So that's shame right there,
Mm-hmm.
right? You
Mm-hmm.
come through that, even if it don't matter for how long, it don't matter if it was just because you didn't really believe in it, but you was raised by people who did, it affected us.
That's right.
And that's what caused us to feel shame. And so even like as kids, if you would put your hand between your legs, you probably would get popped,
Mm-hmm.
and you probably, it would be like, but you're just a kid, you're just innocent, and you're it's no different than when you found your ear and you like, yo,
Mm-hmm.
and you like you digging in it and pulling on it, and what does this do?
Mm-hmm.
So even there, it was like embedded in us to pass down shame.
That's so true.
And so what has happened as a result of this, and so even me and Ernest, we work like together so closely, especially I be really like on him about when it comes to bonding
Mm-hmm.
and our depth and just being
Mm-hmm.
tantric and being deep, and how
Mm-hmm.
deep can we go even if it
Mm-hmm.
hurts, can we go there, can we
Yeah.
go there together, can we come out of that together? So I love very deeply.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I realized was
Mm-hmm.
that even when I do readings and things like that, is people feel this sense of intimacy with me that they don't feel with other people, and that's because it go back to what's happening with the soul harvesting. A lot of people lack the ability to have empathy. Even a lot of us, we've been numb from the trauma, and so we're working on healing that, and that's why a lot of us ended up being drawn to the more spiritual community.
Mm-hmm.
But now that we're here, how do you deal with that trauma? How do you deal with that? And so, for a lot of people in this journey, we want to get into doing magic and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a sense of responsibility that comes with knowing that you do have these core wounds, and that they do manifest themselves in ways that are toxic, and it
Mm-hmm.
does need to be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
And you just need to do whatever you need to do, and there's no excuse. It just is what it is. This is it.
Prerequisites to it.
Accept it,
Yeah.
right? I'm aware of it. I'm accept that, right? And then let me purge myself of the shame and the guilt and the judgment about whatever that thing is that you discover about yourself. Like
Mm-hmm.
when you're doing that work, you're reclaiming the parts of the soul that was fragmented because of trauma that you experienced. And so it's so deeply ingrained and embedded in us, it has made it difficult for us to be intimate with one another. And so for even me and Ernest, and we share this openly, but Venus is in retrograde right now. And so with that energy, like I could really feel the test in the areas of love and like the lessons. And so, we love real intimacy. Like if you don't see your own self, right? And I mean, really see yourself. Really see when you an asshole. Really see when you've been a bitch. Really see when I have not been the greatest mother this week. I've been very withdrawn energetically. I've not really been empathic with my
Mm-hmm.
children. Just what it is. Just call it what it is. When you get to that
Right.
space,
I have
then
not
that's
been a
that's a different space.
connected husband and a grounded husband or the masculine leader. I not
Mm-hmm.
have nurtured my children. Yeah, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Mm-hmm.
And to be able to be in that honest vortex, you change the energy, the electromagnetic field around you. And
Mm-hmm.
so that changes the way you're interacting with your reality. And so we're always having sex, we're always giving birth to something, we're always creating something. So the thoughts that you have stream through, and maybe the ones that get sticky, and that thought you just keep thinking and you keep thinking and you keep thinking it. Well, what happens is when you finally do, and this could be physical intimacy, or this should just be being in the same area with somebody else. We exchange energy that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're sharing and swapping these energies all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
so because when the veil was up, and a lot of us just wasn't really privy to a lot of this information, and we really didn't know much about spiritual hygiene, our energetic body, the distance of our electromagnetic field of our heart, right? How open we are in our breath, how grounded we are, how open we are to life and experiences, how soft and relaxed we allow the body to be, the more
Mm-hmm.
open we are, the more grounded we are, right? So that begins to alter the way reality is interacting with us, because now we're in alignment where the laws of the universe can work for us because we're receptive. We're getting in the receiving mode. We're open to receive the beautiful things that we say that we believe that can happen and that we are part of and while we are awakening on this planet. And so this is a form of sex. This is a form of intercourse. This is a form of playing of energies and free, almost freezing time for a moment and plugging in an intention and then it giving birth and creating something. And so what I realized is that because we're like really for on a mass level, we're just not really getting the hang of this. We're getting our routines in order. We're still kind of feeling and seeing what our routine is, what works for me and what doesn't. Um, so when we're having physical intimacy, we can actually be causing more trauma because if the trauma, what happens is the trauma will either lead you into being hyposexual, you know, and so when you're distressed, you become less, your desire to be intimate lessens, or hypersexual, your desire is it greatly increases
Slows.
when you're under stress. And so, there's a lot of research on the way we react and respond to environments and how the muscles in our body just remembers experiences and it kind of responds based on those experiences. So what is really going on is the agenda. When I first started off, it was the war on consciousness, and that's still happening. But this is next level energy now. The energetic reading that I've been feeling from this is using our trauma that a lot of us have that did come. It either came through something sexual, or trauma completely separate from that
Correct.
manifested itself in your
Yes.
sexual life,
Right.
right?
Right.
So that trauma created like a space in thought forms, and because we have not taken accountability for that energy in those moments and go back to them and reconstruct those moments where maybe that traumatic event happened, you can sit and recapitulate all by yourself, and you sit and you deep breathe and you visualize that moment and just being in that moment and deep breathe that moment through and allow that energy to move through you. This is how you recalibrate. This is how you recapitulate. This is how you call back the fragments of your soul that where you had to compartmentalize your experiences, but you go back into those experiences. And this is why the dark mothers are so helpful, because that's the energy and on a divine level that can assist you with this level of transmutation. And so when you revisit, you're not going by yourself, but the dark goddess is why I started doing the dark goddess readings. Not just because that's going to ultimately allow me to see who I can work with and, closer, like one-on-one or small groups, which I've been talking about, the kind of mentorship program. More details coming about that soon. But it's also to connect you with this the divine energy that has always been with you that maybe you have not been aware of or you need confirmation about, so that when you're going into those dark things, those denser energies, those dense moments, those moments where your heart was broken, when you were divorced, where you experienced death, you experienced illness, you experienced loss of a child, you experienced loss of a loved one, you experience, I mean, just so many things, you lost your job, like we go through so many things coming to this earth, and that's not even including all the other lives prior to this life. That's including all of the lies that you are healing now on a level, like a parallel reality, right? We're sitting here now having this conversation, but there is a whole nother aspect of our consciousness that's doing something else. And it's probably a very similar stream of consciousness to what you're on now. And so we're moving through these different simulations, we're moving through these different realities. And so, when I was feeling into it energetically, I was just like, wow, the kill code is to kill intimacy. Because for a lot of us, our trauma made intimacy feel so fucking scary because it means I have to trust and open and surrender and be vulnerable. That's not safe for me to do that. So guess what? Now I don't even embrace my own feelings. I don't even feel my feelings anymore. And you become numb. And so even if you didn't get vaccinated, the trauma has numbed you. and put you in fight or flight.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
that allows your life force energy that could be used to give birth to things that you want to create, you know? It like it don't even matter what level, it's just as long as we're creating and we're doing it and we're allowing our soul to express itself in ways that it needs to, like that is so necessary to energetically be re-imprinting our personal psyches, our conscious, ourself, the morphogenic field that's around us, that's based on the thoughts that we think, our mindsets, the choices, the vibration that we're in, and then
Mm-hmm.
it ripples out and affects the community, and it ripples out and then it just moves through, and it's
Mm-hmm.
globally, and then it's
Mm-hmm.
quantum.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's galactic energy, and
Mm-hmm.
we're holding the space for that. And that wavelength is Mother Earth is going to pick up on that love energy that you're working and anchoring in as you're doing this alchemical work. So yes, it is very dark. It is a very dark feminine work, going into the subconscious and calling these parts of yourself back and going back to those memories and saying, wait a minute, I can remember this the way I desire it to, because I have the power of choice. And if
Mm-hmm.
I have the ability to conjure the images in my mind, then I
Rewrite
can
it.
go back and rewrite the narrative, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm in fucking control of my narrative. I am.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's right.
I have a voice. I have a
Mm-hmm.
choice.
Mm-hmm.
This 3D material world is not all that is, nor is it the most important. But the world that cannot be seen is the world where I do my work and plant my seeds, and then I'll see manifestation in the material world. As long as I'm doing the things in the material world so that that thing can manifest, you
Mm-hmm.
want to give openness for it to have a way to come to you.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where we are.
So get into the aspect of the kill code
Right.
and how that is to destroy intimacy.
So we have the trauma, right? We have the religious impact that a lot of us experience, right? Where maybe there was a lot of shame attached to our sexual energy, our
Mm-hmm.
kundalini energy, our
Mm-hmm.
that unique part of us, your inner daemon, your inner genius, that pure form, that pure most energetic part of you that is not concerned about how people are going to respond and what they think. That part of you that is just pure who you are, the essence of who you are,
Mm-hmm.
right?
It's your primal self.
So
Yeah.
that, yeah, that is your primal self. So what happens is we get manipulated energetically, and so the frequencies that we can't see but we can feel them. When I was reading and feeling into it, the frequencies is getting more like discord. It sounds like discord, and it's almost like a low hum. And you'll notice every now and again you can hear this low hum,
It's
and
ironically.
the frequency is very it just makes you not want to hold each other,
Mm-hmm.
embrace each other, embrace yourself, love yourself.
Mm. I was just you saying it. I was just gonna say it's ironic. You said Discord, but within that right there, it's a platform called Discord.
So we often see things manifest, in the physical realm to get being a reflection.
Mm-hmm.
So that kill code, y'all, this is why we got to work on the trauma. So
Mm-hmm.
go back, and I know that it seems like that's something you'll be doing forever.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe,
Mm-hmm.
maybe this whole life, but don't not do it. Go back to it. Like, watch the videos that we share and the playlists that we create. Learn about these things. Learn about your love attachment. To know God is to know thyself.
Mm-hmm.
Learn these things about yourself so that you can become a master of your universe, because they have created another universe for people who don't really want to do the work because maybe it's too painful. The facing the shadows, facing our ghosts, right? We talked about
Mm-hmm.
this, giving up the ghosts, the
Mm-hmm.
things that haunt us, the
Mm-hmm.
things that cause us to be triggered in ways that really don't even warrant for us to have that much anger in that moment, but because that thing reminded you of something that happened to you and you haven't separated the pain
Yeah, you
from the
rest in that.
from the memory yet.
Oh yeah.
You have to go back and separate those things. You can retain the memory, but you don't have to retain the emotion that was connected to the memory. And you can go back and say, okay, that happened. I acknowledge that emotion and disconnect from it. I'm saying this is important because the way that you are interacting with your thoughts and with the stream of consciousness that interacts with the wavelengths, and the messages that your body transmits. And so they're creating now, you see how they rushed out the metaverse
Mm-hmm.
because the shadow work is happening whether we want to or not. The purging and the pressing is happening, right? To force us to see ourselves, to face our family dysfunction, to face the fact that we have addictions, that we
Mm-hmm.
have imbalances, that we
Mm-hmm.
have things that maybe we're not proud of, but we don't want to feel shame about it anymore. We want to be able to embrace all of ourselves. So as we're awakening, they've created a whole other consciousness for you to go and interact in. So if you do have intimacy issues because of fear of abandonment, maybe because a parent left you or abused you or wasn't
Mm-hmm.
there for you emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, instead of you doing shadow work and working on yourself and mastering yourself, becoming whole, getting in touch with your inner demons, going
Mm-hmm.
into your shadows, doing the shadow work, right? Bringing love to it, alchemy, learning how to bring beautiful things from the things that was painful that you experienced. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
doing all of that, and that's teaching you to be a master of self. And that's gonna take us
To a
out
whole
the
nother.
game where
Mm-hmm.
we're not at the top of the pyramid anymore. That's an issue. So to stop self mastery, you'll be able to go in the metaverse and then you can interact. If you're afraid to interact with men in person because of this or because of that, you can do it in the metaverse. If you have sexual taboos that you feel
Mm-hmm.
is unacceptable in a society, um, conditioning, a way of believing, that you can go in the metaverse and you can play it out. You don't have
Mm-hmm.
to do any shadow work. Just come here and
Just
fulfill
escape.
that desire, right?
Yep.
And so while you're doing that, they're leaking, you're leaking
Mm.
your life force energy out
The
for these
trap.
astral entities to feed off of you.
Mm.
And what is going to happen is our will to continue to grow, to learn and evolve, it
Dang.
begins to diminish.
Mm-hmm.
And so, little by little, you find yourself not being unique, not being authentic, not you, because you're so caught up in the 3D world and
Mm-hmm.
having to go to work and go to school and pay this and pay that and do this and fill out this form and send this off. And you got to get this certified, but you got to pay for this and do this first and get this license to do this and run this business. And it's so
Mm-hmm.
much you want to do and manifest, but at the same time, you're trying to work on yourself. And it could be a lot, and you don't know which thing to pick up or do. So
Mm-hmm.
this is learning how to be intimate with your own self, right?
Yes.
And find the balance in these things. And so with the metaverse, that's gonna destroy us even the more. We think the devices have destroyed our ability to communicate with each other heart to heart and have resonance. This
No,
is
it's the
the
digital,
huge epidemic
man, a
of
digital epidemic.
loneliness.
Mm-hmm.
The virus is the virus that it almost hurts. It's like you want to love so deeply, but you're afraid to be seen and vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
So you always hold back and hide a piece of you. So when you do get in relationships, like you don't get the full benefit of the relationship because you was holding back. See, now that the veil is down, we have to see that
Mm-hmm.
because we're being forced to evolve.
Mm-hmm.
You evolve or you force reincarnate and just keep doing it over and over again in the same dimension of consciousness.
Yep. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, we talked about the soul entrapment aspect of it. We talked about how the whole new system is to digitize us enslave us in a digital world. And so even though it looks like that's the next phase or that's the thing to get into, we have to be very aware and vigilant about how much energy we're giving to it,
Mm-hmm.
because we know that if that's a place of escape that we can go to live out some of our dark secrets and things like that, just for entertainment's sake. Everything always comes as entertainment, as though it's harmless, but we still giving our we don't know actually who's behind the other side. and what is feeding off of us and feeding off of our energy. And so that's why we have to be mindful and careful about just going into these things like that. Because again, if we look around us, everything is just becoming more and more alive. Everything is becoming more and more sentient. And so we we were just talking about it earlier, as far as, man, even even with the vaccine, you know what I'm saying? How we were watching, what's the name of the movie? The Tomorrow War. And the Tomorrow War, those alien entities that got loose from up under frozen, was it Russia? They got loose, and it put you in the mind of Hydra. And y'all know we've been talking about Hydra. We've been talking about the aspects of it, connected to the jab and all of that. And so it's just very eye opening as to how all of this is actually being uh, magically done right on us before our eyes. Yeah. Then the other show that we was watching, where the black was like the black goo was just consuming everything. Um, what was that one? Where they was in it.
I can't remember the name of it right now. I think the time wheel.
Yeah, the
The
Wheel
time,
of
the wheel
Time.
of
The
time.
Wheel of Time. Yeah, yeah.
So everything is basically just showing us um this like astronomical event that's coming, and everything has been working up to it, and so this is how you traumatize a group of people deeper,
Yeah.
right? You separate them. You, even like with jail, you know um put you in the hole and separating you from everybody else, that can be very traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
Not having human to human interaction as mammals, like that's not how we thrive.
Right.
So
We need the connection.
right. So with this whole pandemic thing, they knew that we were awakening to the trauma and saying that, yo, I got some intimacy issues. Yo, I got trust issues. I got issues with being vulnerable. I have a guilt wound that I
Mm-hmm.
carry. My chakra's fucked up. Like, yo,
Mm-hmm.
I gotta work on my heart chakra. You
Mm-hmm.
know, things like that. So they now this metaverse that they're offering is like a place where you can go and not have to face the truth. And so what is going to happen over time is we will emotionally devolve where we
Mm-hmm.
won't even have emotional sensitivity anymore
Mm-hmm.
because we
Mm-hmm.
haven't really been using it, and we avoid feelings and emotions
What's
that
up?
feel negative, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
So the goal, and this is not to say anything negative about people who are investing in the metaverse and a
Right.
lot of the things associated with the multiverse, and
Mm-hmm.
and setting up NFTs and all of that. But this is just to say, like, energetically, when I felt into this, I was like, this is the main key. So
Mm-hmm.
when George Orwell talked about them killing the orgasm, I was just like, I don't see how they could do that. And but now that
It's
things have
showing.
right
Mm-hmm.
connected like they have, I
Mm-hmm.
can see how they can do that. So basically, this is them because they're psychopaths. They don't have the ability to feel. They don't have emotional intelligence. They don't have a system to
Artificial
even process that. Right? So
AI
being
behind it
able
too.
to do that makes us different than AI,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to have orgasms and climax and direct our intention and breath in that moment to create a specific thing, to give density to something that was just an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Just awakening to that fact makes us a dangerous
To
weapon
the system.
to the agenda
Mm-hmm.
of having us in these spiritual incarceration camps. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you die, you don't know if you're supposed to go in the light or not. Do you do the life review or not do the life review? Like, you don't know what the fuck to do when you
Mm-hmm.
die. And so it makes it easier for them to force reincarnate you to come and live another miserable ass life where
Mm-hmm.
you just reliving the same karmic patterns over and over again. But because of the amnesia, you don't know that you're about to relive the shit. Then you start living, and then you start realizing you had a past life, and it seems like that past life is probably what's affecting this life.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, and that's like we're reaching for the truth so deeply that we want to know who we were in past lives and what. That's why we have that hunger and that desire to know that curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
And so the most powerful thing that you can do for yourself right now is to see if there's a dark goddess that you resonate with and connecting with it to help you to connect deeper with yourself, with your own trauma, your own pain, your own insecurities, your shame, your guilt. Be intimate with yourself. So what I did to help with this process was I created the false self funeral. You want to give a proper burial to your false self. And so I already have a template, and then there's this very powerful spell that you can use, and it's gonna kick some stuff up. It's gonna make you start realizing what your authentic self is like, and what your false self is like. So that's on the Patreon. And you would just be able to just read through that with me, or just listen to it. And Ashe, you can light a candle, things like that to empower what you're doing. But yes, that's going to kick it up. And then the other thing that I shared recently was that the reason why a lot of us not really mastering ourselves and being masters in this universe is because we have a lot of fear still programmed in us. And so the fear, it like creates a vibrational pattern that's not in harmony with what it is your heart be wanting to do. And so energetically, you still have like that 3D, lower dimensional energy connected to the things that you do. And so you don't reap the harvest the way that you feel like that you should. And so if that's happening to you, it's just because your energy, you're learning more about yourself, and you're learning more about your mindset so that you can change the way that you interact with things, with energy, with ideas, and whatever it is that you do from day to day. So yes, that's important, because for the people who feel like reality is too much, like they're gonna keep doing stuff with the natural events and the false flag events. They're gonna keep doing this to keep us in fear, because there's so much power
Distractions.
in being able to create not even just peace, but to be able to create bliss, like when the world is just in chaos, in shambles, to be able to have a moment when you create bliss, when you create gratitude. Like a lot of us want to be able to do that. We want to be able to work with our emotions in a way where they're actually supporting, right, our aspirations. And we don't feel like we're in conflict with ourselves all the time, but we're just in one vibration. Like we desire to feel that pure energy, to feel love purely and deeply. Like that's what's driving a lot of us to continue to work on ourselves. So, so with that being said, when they did the 6 feet apart thing, right? Then the kids not in school anymore, so they're not getting that interaction. And then we found out that the people that got the vaccinations do emit this frequency, right? And it can cause radiation sickness symptoms. If that's been proven in so many other truthers videos other than just our research. We know that. So it's just more separation and division and separation and division. And now we don't even feel comfortable having dinner with our family without wondering who vaccinated and who not, and who might be emitting that stuff. Then your head start hurting, and you're like, oh shit. And it's a lot that we're dealing with right now. So the ability to be intimate and embrace all of who you are and all of yourself, and to let go of the shame around whatever it is, that's a very powerful energy to be working with and to be working yourself into right now. And so that the reality is not something so bad to where like the metaverse is like the vacation for you to get away from reality. And they've already split and divided our minds and got our nervous systems trained to be in fight or flight. And so you're not relaxing enough. You're not tapping into your kundalini energy enough. And yes, you do want to do that at a slow pace. You don't do that fast. You unlock the bandhas, the bandalocks that sit in each chakra. You know, you breathe and you squeeze and release the perineum and just work on balancing and strengthening those chakras. And this is what you can do yourself to strengthen your energetic body to be able to handle kundalini energy coming into your life and causing this transformation. But it is the frequency that it emits up and down your spine that communicates with and comes right to your third eye, and that affects the way that you perceive life, the world, things, what's happening, you, who you are. And then you can begin to actually become an architect of your reality and pinpoint, like, okay, that's when I started manifesting this, that's connected to this trauma, like this, that doing the shadow work like that, you won't need a metaverse or somewhere to go to get away from life, because you're learning how to be with yourself.
That's right.
You're learning how to be with all of what life offers and bring love to it and not judgment. So much power in that. And so they don't want us to learn how to conjure intimacy.
That's right.
And this is what I realized that we've been working on and teaching is how to be intimacy conjurers. That is really powerful. And that's what separates us from AI and these other interdimensional beings, archons, and we can get into Zeta Reticuli and the Draco entities from there. And like I may end up doing a build about that. I hadn't decided yet because it's still a lot of information is still coming through, and we're learning as the veil is down and more information is leaking through. But yes, there is an interdimensional aspect to all of this. So working through your chakras was one thing that I gave, using your breath, right? Inviting your sexual energy into your life, right? To not fill it with shame, to not fill it with judgment, but that it's love and that it's my way of being able to give and receive love, right? And even if you're not being sexual physically, it can be you interacting with a pen and paper and writing some beautiful words, allowing your soul to express itself. Like we sometimes minimize the power of those simple things, but those simple things plant seeds to give flowers to things that your mind hadn't even perceived yet, but that your children and your children's children would be able to benefit from, because it was energy that you allowed to move through you. We're more than just humans with bodies. We're portals, and we're transmitters. We are the original towers. And like, what are you emitting? Are you conjuring intimacy, or are you conjuring more division and loneliness? Are you reaffirming your trauma by the way that you respond and react day to day? Like, are you waking up with a fresh mindset? Are you going to bed and deciding how you want to perceive your day? Like, are you doing the shadow work? Are you looking at the points of the day where it seemed like your trauma and your ghost just kind of took over and you went into, your pattern, your coping mechanism? Okay, well, how do you feel about that? And if you feel some type of way about it that's negative, working through it. Like, okay, I have a right to feel that way about that. And I also have a right to release it. So this is the work that you could be doing to be keeping yourself clear, so that you are a clear channel for what it is your soul is here to do and for your journey. Because otherwise they're not taking souls quickly. They're like setting up these traps and these systems and these webs to just slowly cause you to leak your life force energy, your kundalini energy, and it just goes to use by entities that hate humanity and hate evolution, us becoming gods and goddesses.
Right. Yeah. So today, with all of that being said, today, according to the Mayan calendar, today is a yellow overtone warrior, a yellow overtone warrior, and we just want to emphasize the fact that, okay, with the energy of today, it's all about flowering. So what we can do in order to combat the resistance that we are feeling, because we got to remember that it is an internal war within us. It's always an internal war within us. It's a war to either stay on the course that we desire, truly our higher selves desire for us to be on, or are we going to be pulled into
It's in the
any
back
type
of
of entrapment? Are
January.
we going to be pulled into any type of energetic realm
Little purple pills.
or
Show it to
atmosphere
him.
or ideology
It's up under the
that
sink.
does not benefit us and is strictly in place for us being harvested because we are food to some other entities. And so with that being said, we are warriors. We have to become warriors for love. We have to become warriors for our own growth and development, just to fight this system, but to fight for what we feel is most sacred and most important to us. And so a yellow overtone warrior, I'll read the actual wave spell too, but for the yellow overtone warrior, it says, I empower in order to question. Commanding fearlessness, I seal the output of intelligence. With the overtone tone of radiance, I am guided by the power of flowering. I am a galactic activation portal. Enter me. And so again, even though in most archetypal um, perspectives, a warrior is a male, but we all have warrior-like essences within us. And so again, we have to, as individuals, as each companion in relationships, we have to be warring for this because intimacy is not going to just fall in our laps. It's something that has to be cultivated. It's something that as we work through our traumas, we got to build up to, and we got to work together. But if you happen to be single right now, you know what I'm saying? Being able to be more in touch with yourself, being more in tune with yourself. We talked about the planetary workings and how you can use the planetary workings right now. We're in the planet energy of Venus, and so we can use that to cultivate the self love, to cultivate the
Let your brother do it.
love and the man, just the desires that we would want, and then in the relationships we're able to bring forward what we want to, and that's ultimately love. That's ultimately the experiences of love that we can only imagine.
Yeah.
um and so one thing that I did come across, and I want to read it as it relates to the yellow warrior. It says, people may struggle with both suppressed emotion and physical injury or incapacity. There are on some level war weary and battle scarred. In the masculine instinctual imperative of accomplishment and guardianship, they will continue to serve, to protect, even when hardened by further scar tissue and overtaxed joints and muscles. I just said all of that to say, because of everything that's going on, because of constantly being bombarded with chemtrails and all other kinds of stuff in the atmosphere, it's a continual breakdown of our bodies. And so we already know that we got to be vigilant and we got to be more conscious about how we're taking care of these vessels, how we're taking care of these temples. So with our bodies continually under stress, we also are under this emotional stress. We're also becoming more aware of, like we've been saying, all of the issues that we've had with being one with ourselves, because we've had to be um so hard. We've had to be hardened. We've grown hardened in this culture, in this society. And so whether you're a woman, you've had to be tough skinned to go for what you know and get it. If you're a man, you've had to you know it's just been that way for all of us. And so within our relationship dynamic, I did not have the type of example of how to be intimate with myself from the place of getting the type of love and nurture from those individuals that I should have received it from. And so now, fast forwarded to now at this point in our relationship, I've struggled terribly with creating the intimacy. Um, because I'm also going through this dark night myself. I've been more toxic than therapeutic. You know what I'm saying? But it's necessary. It's necessary. And at one point in time, I hated it all. I hated it. I was like, oh, I just hate this. I hate myself. I hate the way I am. You know what I'm saying? I hate that I respond and react like this. And then I had to realize it's not anything to hate. I have to be grateful for it because at least the fact that I'm experiencing all of this, I know where I need to channel my focus and my energy and intention so I can correct these issues.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, so we have with this new variant that everybody is talking about. This is what I feel. This is making it more difficult to feel connected. So that's connected with yourself, with your higher self, with your spirit guides, your ancestors. You may feel it like weakening and seem like you're not as connected and you're not as in the flow with spirit and things like that. And just know that that's the agenda. That's what's going on. So yeah, we're just giving you a heads up to be on the lookout for these different wavelengths, these waveforms, these thought forms, and the way it may manifest energetically and show up for you emotionally, and in your mindset. So just to keep an eye on it. I also want to say thank y'all for the donations, for the likes, for the shares, for
Just
the
for the
subs,
support.
for the
Yeah.
support. Like,
Yeah.
thank you. We want to stop in and add that in there because
Definitely.
having these kind of conversations and doing this kind of work where we're really desiring to be able to grow and evolve and take people with us, like, yeah, you definitely need to have that energy receptivity moving and going. So thank you. Do not want to underestimate. I don't care if it was just $1 for everybody new who
Thank
have joined
you.
us on Patreon. Thank
Thank
you.
y'all.
You
Thank
know,
y'all.
we're
Yeah.
in service to each other. And so that is what causes us to be able to be that galactic activation portal.
That's right.
And start like changing the way the energy transmits around us because we're changing the way we move. But I just wanted to add that in there and say that so yes, so I was thinking like a lot of people want to get into sex magic now, and I'm like, damn, we still got a lot of shadow shit we haven't dealt with.
Right.
And so one of the things, that I see with the conscious community, I can also see how this metaverse thing can be like a drug for the conscious community as well. Because again, as people are awakening and activating, sometimes people have kundalini activations not even on purpose. You could have been doing some other type of spiritual practice, or even just had been having sex, or just had a vibration that you felt in your body, or you were sleeping, woke up super sweaty. Like, we have kundalini activation sometimes that happen in our sleep because our DNA is going through this awakening. And so with all of that, you have people as they're finding their authentic self, and they're just like, I think that I don't just like women, I like men too. I don't just like men, I like women too. I think that I'm attracted to. I like being nude. I want to go to a new community and live there because I feel the most authentic when I'm just in the nude, and people can't hide and people can't be fake and mistreat each other because you feel more vulnerable because you're in the nude, right? People discover all these different things about themselves. And so one of the things that I notice is because now we're shifting more into using the plant medicines, and that's more like an acceptable thing, you're definitely going to have the pendulum swing too far the other way. So it will be situations where people will be like, yo, I don't know how it started off like this, but we did a shroom ceremony, and the next thing I know, we like playing Twister, except we didn't have no clothes on. I mean, it happens, and we got so much shame around the times where we've had one night stands or threesomes or foursomes or whatever it was. So
Yeah.
like all of the different sexual variations as we're going through these kundalini activations, and some of us women were, you know, sex priestesses in another life, and that stuff is starting to come online like in the astral realm, and we feel ourselves changing, and we're going through this awakening and becoming these goddesses, you know, for the men becoming more God-like, having to be more intentional about the direction that of everything that you do, that you must live intentional. You must have
Mm-hmm.
vision. If you don't have clarity and vision, you need to get a reading, you need to do a spiritual bath, you need to do this, that. You need to find stuff to do to
Mm-hmm.
get clear on that. Like we're
Mm-hmm.
all feeling this. The
Mm-hmm.
divine masculine is wanting us to get clear and
Mm-hmm.
give structure
Mm-hmm.
to some of the more creative energies that have come in to help us transform. So
Mm-hmm.
all this is happening at one time, but the kill code that you're going to feel is definitely going to be the lacking connection,
Mm-hmm.
lacking feeling whole, feeling love, feeling accepted, feeling good, feeling blissful. Like
Mm-hmm.
that shouldn't be an emotion that we feel like is always out of reach. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's supposed to be something that we can conjure. And so, the most powerful thing that I believe, this is my personal belief and observations, that we can do to be rebellious to the system that seeks to cause us to be synthetic
Mm-hmm.
and nothing about us to be organic anymore, nothing about us to be natural anymore,
Mm-hmm.
nothing about us to be supernatural,
Mm-hmm.
is to conjure intimacy in any way that you
Yes.
can.
Yes.
Move slow. Say, I love you more. Say, I forgive you more. Say, thank you more. Say, I really don't know how to feel more.
Mm-hmm.
Say, I really don't know how to love you the
Mm-hmm.
way that you need me to. Can you show
Mm-hmm.
me
Mm-hmm.
more?
Mm-hmm.
Just admitting and living more in your truth. And yes, it's going to be some days it's going to be uncomfortable, but the reward that you get when you leave your physical body for doing this work, like you're not going to look back and have regrets.
That's
You're
right.
going to be like, I'm
That's
so
right.
glad I worked on myself. And so
Mm-hmm.
when you do have the opportunity to go into the afterlife, you're going to be prepared for the next evolutionary step for the evolution of your
Mm-hmm.
soul and what your soul is learning on its own wheel of time journey. And we're
Mm-hmm.
all on these separate journeys, but a lot of us have these similar frequencies and these similar purposes and
Mm-hmm.
similar missions and overlapping things. And so
Mm-hmm.
this is where the soul tribe comes in, and you feel a strong connection with people, and it seems like we're speaking each other language, and the way that we've
Mm-hmm.
expressed and you've been feeling it too. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like this is why this is happening. And so like just to notice it's happening so major, because even though Venus is in retrograde, this is happening. Like this is the potential. So the
Mm-hmm.
potential is not just for the chaos and the darkness, y'all. The potential is for us to transmute that,
That's
take it
right.
and work with it,
That's
take it
right.
and take some dark moments and work with it,
Mm-hmm.
the way that you can work with your own dark moments, you know, and just be like, you know what, I'm determined to love myself right now. You could be drunk and be like, I said I was gonna stop drinking, and here I am drunk. But you know
Mm-hmm.
what? I'm gonna love me. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
love me. You've been through some things, and it
Mm-hmm.
just felt good today, and you felt like you needed to do what you needed to do. Feeling guilty about it is not gonna help me to grow. So I'm not gonna sabotage us. So honey, and just lay down and chill out. It's all
Mm-hmm.
good.
Mm-hmm.
Wake up
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow, drink your fluids, and get back on your meditation. Do what you need to do. That's all. No
Mm-hmm.
big deal. It's evolution. You learning. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is the new internal dialogue that you start
Yeah.
creating with yourself
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
encouraging yourself.
Yeah. Basically, like you said, just moving with grace. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So that is like the superpower. Conjuring intimacy is the superpower. It is a superpower. That's why being vulnerable feels so fucking scary. It's the frequency. They
Mm-hmm.
pumping the frequencies out to
Mm-hmm.
make us want to unplug,
Yep.
to make us want to, like the devices and stuff, is to just to keep us from interacting, even with you just interacting with your own
Self.
self and different aspects of yourself. Your
Mm-hmm.
wounded inner child might be coming up. Like talk to her, talk to
Mm-hmm.
him. Like, what's up? I
Mm-hmm.
ain't like the way daddy used to leave me at home by myself. And a lot of times I had to go to bed at night without dinner because I didn't know how to cook, and all I had to do was eat cereal. That really bothered me.
Mm-hmm.
And now I hoard food as
Mm-hmm.
a result of not having enough. Like whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
like work it out.
Mm-hmm.
Work it
Mm-hmm.
out.
That's right.
You know, write
Mm-hmm.
letters to yourself. Keep
Mm-hmm.
it simple. You don't have to go find a spell, a ancient ceremony to deal with everything.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's just the simplicity of taking that narrative back and just allowing the emotion and accepting it, right? And then you can move past it and you can
Mm-hmm.
separate the memories from the emotions. And the
Mm-hmm.
more that you know that you are moving in this and doing this, is that you begin to feel love deeper. You begin to have experiences that show up as love in places that you don't expect. So, perfect example, I was having a really rough time about 3 or 4 days ago. You know, when the doctors tell you shit like, well, your kidney's still not functioning as good as they need to be, your lab showed this, and you're doing everything that you can, right? That can be frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had a low moment, but I was just really determined to be with myself in that moment. And so I was just holding myself. I was crying and holding myself and like, girl, it's all good. You
Mm-hmm.
gonna make the best out of it. You
Mm-hmm.
always give your best. You do what you can. And so I kind of just talked myself through it and soothed myself through it, and it felt really good to be with myself in that way. And
Mm-hmm.
so that is doing inner child healing. So my
Yeah.
inner child was calming down as I
Mm-hmm.
was dealing with that present situation. And so this is how we can
Mm-hmm.
time travel. We
Mm-hmm.
can tap into the awakening in the DNA and start
Mm-hmm.
using it for us. And I know
Yes.
that in the beginning, you might feel like maybe it is working, maybe it's not. Maybe it works for so and so, but it just don't work for me. I've
Mm-hmm.
tried it before, and last time I really don't remember doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Try to detach from
Been
going
there.
into anything with that emotion. So you want to
Mm-hmm.
sit and separate that and be like, okay, let me separate that because that could have just been a one-time experience. I'm not going to assume that I know because then I'm now aligning energy to this that is doing the opposite of what I want to do. And that don't make sense. I ain't going to do that. So
Mm-hmm.
let me just make sure that I ain't got nothing but this hand in the pot cooking,
Mm-hmm.
and then,
Mm-hmm.
okay, all right.
One thing that's been so phenomenal, and I'm glad that it came to mind. You brought it to light, and that's just grieving, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Just grieve, just grieve.
Yeah.
We most of the time only grieve when there's been a loss of a loved one or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. But guess what? What about all the times we done took losses since we've been here? That's that done been bottled up inside of us. And so we have to grieve for those things. Just express the grief that you've felt because of it. And feel that, accept that,
Mm-hmm.
and then let it go. But
Mm-hmm.
that's necessary. And I didn't realize how necessary it was until we started doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's so phenomenal. It's amazing how something so simple can be so fucking scary,
Mm-hmm.
and that you want it so much at the same time. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of us, we're not projecting confidence in what we're doing. So you might be doing your affirmations, you might be doing your meditations, you might be doing your mantras, you might be making sure that you're being mindful. You might be making sure that you give gratitude and say grace, when you
Mm-hmm.
eat.
Mm-hmm.
You might be making sure that you thank the water when you shower, that you're taking, your occasional spiritual bath as needed.
Mm-hmm.
You might make sure that when you go to bed at night, that you set the intention, that you call forth your higher self, right, to ensure your safety as you travel the astral world while
Mm-hmm.
you're sleeping. Like you may be doing all of these things. You may be working on your chakras, working with your breathing exercises, practicing some kundalini yoga, or reading a book about kundalini energy and learning more about that. Like you may be doing all of these things, but if you have internal conflict that could happen day to day, or it could be just one specific event, or a series of events that you never dealt with, that's gonna make you not have be able to conduct as much electrical magnetic energy of love, and create the magnetism that's necessary
Right.
for you to attract the things that you are calling for. So if you're calling for healing, then you must be in a magnetic attraction for healing to come to you. Your mind has to already be ready to be grateful for that, accept that. You have to already be visualizing, what am I going to do when I'm more healed? How am I going to be different in my relationships? How am I going to treat people? How am I going to solve problems? How am I going to show up? And then just day by day, just working on being that person, you know? This is ultimately how we become masters over ourselves. So to be able to conjure intimacy in a time where we're being hit with these waves like this Wi-Fi and stuff, it makes it difficult for you to be vulnerable and intimate with another human being on a soul to soul level. And it is intentional. They are intentionally keeping us in fight or flight. And so there's a secret space project, well, a secret military project that I talked about in the War on Consciousness Part 1. And I talked about how it's called Sleep But No Sleep, Project Sleep But No Sleep. And so the frequencies that is bombarding us is so radioactive, the circadian rhythm is threw off. So even though maybe you are sleeping, you can feel that you're not sleeping as deeply as you need to be. You're not waking up as rested and things like that. And so to combat those things, we have to start cultivating positive mindsets, deep breathing, expand, to be willing to expand our consciousness. And yes, that's going to mean challenges. So that's why doing the left hand path workings was something I was so ready for, because I've been facing my shadows and my demons, but to have a visualization way, using a mystical system of connecting with certain energetics to work through the trauma. Like that's what resonated more for me. So that's what my way of going into these different realms and traumas, and then reprogramming myself, right, to see things outside of that trauma. But for you, it could just be personal development and listening to lectures about certain things. Like we don't all have to use the exact same ways to get there. But me and Ernest, our purpose is to share with you different ways that we are working on transmuting the trauma, and things that we use on our healing journey, that we think can help y'all too. So yeah, so don't be surprised if you feel super triggered, super lonely. You could be with somebody or without somebody. Like it don't matter. It's energetic. It's really not based on your physical situation. And so you want to practice cultivating your reality by cultivating the nature that's going to support that reality. So if you want a more loving home, then you cultivate more love. You cook things and you take the time to do them. Like this was just a meal of love today, that I planned this and made this and set the intention, and you put that energy in the house. Like the most powerful magic are these simple things, y'all, and we need to just be more consistent, that we begin to live them and not just practice them on occasion, but we live mindful and intentful.
I say.
That's amazing, woman's loving life. Yep, she says she be on the computer 13 hours a day and she can feel that energy. Yeah, it's very real, but it can make you feel like you're crazy. You do have moments where you just be like, oh my God, like I don't have no fucking self-control. I'm always exhausted. I'm always triggered and getting an attitude. Like I keep doing the same shit I said I wasn't gonna do.
Right.
I want to lose weight, but I keep eating stuff I shouldn't be eating. Like it's just so many things. We just have so many shoulds and disciplines, and a lot of this stuff is just it's grounded in trauma and the way we responded to it, and just in the conscious community alone, I just see a lot of toxic positivity. So I know a lot of people are having a conversation about being polyamorous and things like that. And I'm just like, people out here is spirit swapping. You really want to be really in tune with yourself right now, because the
What you
astral
said,
entities that
yeah,
may or may not be connected to that other person, you might not want to connect yourself to that. So like, we got to
yeah,
be intentional. Yes, it's fun and it's beautiful and it's freedom and it's liberating, especially if you're working with the dark goddesses and you're going more into that raw primal energy, and you're allowing yourself to learn these lessons and have these certain sexual experiences, and just doing the alchemy of energy. Everything is energy, right? Vibration. Awakening the kundalini and creating purposes and creations and ideas and projects and businesses, and even building relationships, working relationships, and meeting people. Like, all of this is happening at one time. But you want to make sure you have a system, so that when you're done having your experiences, that you are clearing yourself energetically. Because
exactly.
when they turn this volume up, and they already have, but towards the end of this year, moving into the spring and into April, I see it's going to be even worse. So if you are not working with your shadow self, please start.
Mm-hmm.
Create a relationship where you are allies with your shadow self, not enemies.
Mm-hmm.
You are allies with your ego, not enemies. It
Mm-hmm.
is all here to teach us something.
That's right.
If we would just slow down, sometimes we keep ourselves busy so we don't have to feel
Feel.
the uncomfortable feelings or
That's right.
whatever may be under the surface. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you just got to slow down and be like, what am I feeling?
Mm-hmm.
What do I need?
Mm-hmm.
What is my mind telling me I need? What does my heart want, ladies? What is my womb space saying? What do I need?
Mm-hmm.
Like, where,
That's a
fellas,
whole nother.
like,
Yeah.
what is
My
my
father
my
saying?
phallus pointing
Yeah.
me to pay
Yeah.
attention to,
Yeah.
right? I have not been using you correctly. Like, you are here and you are meant, your sacred geometry is created for a metaphysical purpose, and I'm just now tapping into that. So I'm having that conversation with my phallus. I'm
Mm-hmm.
having that conversation with my yoni. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what is going on? This is that deeper intimacy and that connection. So this is
Mm-hmm.
a way that you can be, because I know y'all some fucking sacred rebels like we are, and you
Mm-hmm.
don't want to go with the flow, and you want to figure out what the fuck is wrong, and you want to move in a direction that you feel like is a solution.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah. So yes, we got into it. So those are some of the things that we think will be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Again, working through, like, dealing with it and facing it. If you have sexual trauma, releasing the shame, reading the book, Healing the Shame That Binds Us. Check that book out. We've been talking about that. We've been reading it together and working on it for the past month. It is
Mm-hmm.
phenomenal, very eye-opening. But
Mm-hmm.
so much of what needs to happen on the planet is not going to happen until we do these things. So products that we've been creating to help you do that would be protection. When you start doing this kind of work, you must protect your auric field. You must protect the new soul contracts that you're creating, the dark goddesses that you may be desiring to work with, or feeling a draw, a curiosity to learn more about. And so I've been working with those energies. And so I created the Kali Lotus Lux Potion, and we wrote a whole blog about it. But this is made of oud, and oud is what, all of the expensive perfume makers, this is what they use. But to
Mm-hmm.
begin using things for their spiritual purpose and connecting that with intent and reason, it gives you more power to manipulate energy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're here to learn to do. Otherwise, you become a victim, and you're in this body, but you're not directing it, and you're not directing any other energy that's around it. So yes, you're gonna fall victim to all types of psychic attacks that you don't feel like you have the right tools to deal with. So the Kali Lotus Lux, this was created to help deal with a lot of those different things, a lot of the psychic attacks and energies. It's soothing, it's calming. You feel more deeply connected with yourself. Like, real talk, I just put some on, and these are the small ones. We
Mm-hmm.
did get a chance to make sure that we had those available for y'all on the website. This is
Mm-hmm.
rose quartz, but we
Yeah.
also
We
have
got
tiger's
Tiger's Eye.
eye.
Mm-hmm.
That's limited. So if you
Mm-hmm.
want to get it, go ahead and get it, because a lot of times, as I'm going through these workings with these goddesses, and they give me these recipes and these spells to do, a lot of times it may be something that I may not revisit, because as I'm evolving, it's changing, and I don't want to just be doing stuff out of my logical mind.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so the products are very, very, very divinely inspired, and I do not, we make sure that we do not make these unless our energy is purely this one thing that we're working on.
That's right.
So with the Kali Lotus Lux, you can get that in the small size or the big one. This is for if you're getting the work in. There's so many ways you can use this. The smell alone is
Mm-hmm.
going to shift your frequency and make your vibration go up high. And also the way that it's made, just read the blog about it. You'll see many uses. You could put it in an oil diffuser. You could anoint your candle with it. You could anoint yourself with it. You could anoint your ancestor money with it. I mean, there's no limits to it. And this protects whatever magical working or whatever spiritual transformation you're going through. This is allowing the energy of Kali to protect that, but this is also carrying the energy of abundance, of
Mm-hmm.
Lakshmi, and of rebirth of Isis, which is why I use the lotus flower. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a little backstory on that one.
Mm-hmm. And then we also have the dark crystal elixir. Dark crystal elixir. It's colloidal silver based, so it's very beneficial for antifungal and things like that. Um, we can't speak enough. This is a go to.
Yeah.
This is a go to for us and the circle, our circle. Um, and so yeah, definitely from the Kali Lotus Lux to the dark crystal elixir. And then we also have some other very beneficial. We got self-love potion to help you tap in uh
Hmm.
for self. Um
That's phenomenal.
yeah.
Like you instantly start seeing people respond to you differently. We got so many testimonials
Yeah.
about these products, and you can read that on the website too.
Speaking of testimony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we have those. We
Yeah.
got plenty of more
That's
products.
what's
So
up.
just go and
Yeah.
look around the Spiritual Emporium shop and see what products resonate with you. This is the time to be getting your practice in. Like I
Yeah.
said, when April 4th get here, I don't know, that date kind of been sticking with me. And I do got some feelings about that. I will keep y'all in the loop, of course.
For sure.
We will be doing webinars. We're going to continue talking about intimacy. We're going
Yeah.
to continue talking about trauma,
That's our lane.
shame, ways to deal with it, ways to, get grounded, ways to manifest a partnership. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not going to be perfect. It's not a such thing as a happy marriage. There's no such thing as any of those things.
So
You're
ain't.
just on a journey with someone else, and just being in that sacred space with one another, and allowing each other to have their own individual experience, but then having experience and coming together. Like, it's a whole new level of responsibility.
Ability.
But so we
It's
will be
something that you working
teaching
for and
how
fighting
we,
for continually.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be
Mm-hmm.
teaching, some of the skills that we use to
Mm-hmm.
work through disagreements, and to grow closer, to continue to go closer.
That's
Like,
right.
I'd be wanting to climb inside his heart chakra and just feel that like that, posted up,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
feel good, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we realized we need to share more of that. We just weren't sure how many people was interested and how many people we were talking to. So like,
Mm-hmm.
hit the like, comment, and let us know. Like, if y'all feeling this and want to do this too, we can go deep with it. We have a lot of magical ceremonies that you could use for this integration and this healing and balancing the divine masculine and feminine out, and
Mm-hmm.
being able to just flow in
Mm-hmm.
those energies.
Mm-hmm.
Different archetypes you can work with. We got
Mm-hmm.
meditations that I've been creating
Mm-hmm.
to do, kundalini meditations to activate your kundalini, shit you ain't never heard of, like
Mm-hmm.
visualizations and
Mm-hmm.
meditations and
Mm-hmm.
shamanic journeys that I've been going on for years. And so I'm finally opening that up,
Mm-hmm.
to share that. So if these things are like something that interests you, be sure to let us know, because we're going to go ahead and create a whole separate thing,
Mm-hmm.
project,
Mm-hmm.
but for the people who want to deep dive into that.
Mm-hmm.
So the cult information is phenomenal, but knowing how to apply it to get the life that you want, like that make me feel good, and so I love sharing that with everybody else too.
I agree. And I just want to add, one thing, y'all, just be willing to go through the hard times. You know what I'm saying? Y'all see us and it looked like, oh, but we've
Yeah.
shared all of the bullshit that I've taken her through, you know what I'm saying, and the shit that we've experienced, as a whole in this relationship, in this marriage. But one thing that we both were resolute about was that this is what we want and we're going to work together through all of it. And so that's what's important. You're gonna go through a honeymoon phase or stage in your
Mm-hmm.
relationship. If you're single, when you get in a relationship, you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
go through that stage where it seems like everything's just beautiful, everything is wonderful. Then you're gonna hit that dry, you're gonna hit that hardship and that dry where you damn near got one foot out the door, or in your
Mm-hmm.
mind you got a foot out the door. You know what I'm saying? Everybody goes through that. But the
Yeah.
thing about it is, if you in a relationship or you get in a relationship, when you hit that phase, guess what? If you decide to dip, when you get in another relationship, you're gonna go through that same cycle. So you're gonna go through a period of bliss all over again, and then you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna hit the rough spots in that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta just decide and be willing to just fight through it and work through it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's why we continually stress the importance about working on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Working on yourself, being more in tune with yourself. So as you are with your partner and y'all working on each other, uh, uh, personally wise, while you working on you and she's working on her, and then y'all helping one another, you can overcome and you can get through these things. But it ain't okay, Qual.
Mm-mm.
It's definitely a challenge. It's
Yeah.
definitely a challenge. It's like some of the hardest shit ever.
Yeah.
But the benefits of when you start seeing the results of things getting sweeter and things getting easier and things getting better and your bond is stronger and it's just getting stronger and stronger.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't never been in no relationships where we've unlocked all things,
Yeah.
because we're always learning, we're always evolving, we're always growing. And so if we're growing closer together, that's just the beauty of it.
And it's beautiful if we break up. You know,
Yeah, that's
it's
true
it's
too.
it's like when you just get to a space when you really work on yourself, you get to a space where you just like, I'm just choosing to see beauty
Yep,
and everything that happens
yep,
in my experience,
yep.
because I learn from it and I grow and I become better and I become
Mm-hmm.
stronger.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it might not look like it, and I might look real unstable right now, but
Mm-hmm.
I've survived a lot and I'm doing great.
Yeah,
Like, this is the internal conversation you want to start having with yourself.
yeah.
So, yeah, we create products to protect your physical body, your physical health, products for, your spiritual bodies, astral body. Like, that's important. So with this Omicron and all of this, like, it's all attached to the intergalactic wars and the attempt to disconnect us from our emotions, disconnect us
Mm-hmm.
from intimacy. It'll be to a point with this metaverse and stuff. A lot of people just, the potential for a relationship with a real human being is not even gonna be an option. People just gonna be like, that ain't even no option for me.
Mm-hmm.
My mom and daddy got divorced. My grandma and granddaddy got divorced. So I'm not even, I'm good. I got a boyfriend in the metaverse and a husband in the metaverse, and he be buying me NFTs whenever I want them. And it was like we interacting, and they will be able to kill the orgasm
Mm-hmm.
and be able to finally not just suppress us using our kundalini energy for ourselves, but being able to siphon that energy and use it for their own agenda against us evolving.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, this is where we are. So, if you want to learn more about being an intimacy conjurer, we'll be going deeper into that. And I don't know, I'm kind of trying to separate because I can really go deep and it can really get really, really like shit that's supposed to be a mystery, you know, and I make it really simple, and but it's so powerful, and I want to be responsible with how I'm giving that information out and where. So I'm not sure about that yet. We'll definitely separate it, and it'll kind of be the people who are more experienced occult practitioners will probably be more drawn to certain things. So just so you know, like this is not candy and fluff and shit. This is
Right.
like real
Deep.
research, spiritual work, journeys of other people, practicing, using it ourselves, seeing the outcomes. You know, I don't want nobody to tell me about this demon. I want to get to know this demon for myself. I don't want nobody to tell me about ancestor honoring. I want to connect myself. It's just all these things we've been being courageous enough to just jump and do it, and you have to. You know, to get a different outcome, you got to do new shit. You can't
That's
keep
right.
doing the same shit expecting a different
Doing
outcome.
anything.
That breeds more mental imbalance, that breeds more insanity, and you drive yourself crazy, and then you have all these limiting self-beliefs, and it's just controlling your life, and you don't even feel like you're in control of your life. You feel like the trauma that you experienced from your childhood is what's controlling your life, and it's like, damn, I want to at least be able to have some control over the life that I'm living. That's why I'm awakening, right? And it is. So yeah, I've been figuring out like how can I help? What can I do? I don't want to scatter myself too thin, but I'm like conjuring this intimacy.
That's what it
That's
is.
major.
Yeah.
And so yes, in my readings, I help you do that, and I help you discover ways that you can connect deeper with yourself. And it's a scary experience to your nervous system, but we got to train our nervous systems to be
That's
able
right.
to hold these high vibrations of bliss and
It
energy,
takes strength.
so that we can
Yeah.
know that we deserve to feel blissful. We
Mm-hmm.
deserve to feel beautiful. We deserve to not have to be suffering constantly and in pain and feeling lonely and hating ourselves and feeling disgusted at how fucking dysfunctional our family is and how chaotic the world is and how crazy the news is and the fact that people are zombies and the fact that people don't have souls anymore, and you're trying to interact with people and you can't really tell who is Sim and who not a Sim, who an NPC and who not. Then you got the negative alien agenda, and so you're trying not to feed into that, and you don't want to be arconic food, so you're trying not to seep too low in negative emotions, and then you get in this cycle of pretending like you're positive all the fucking time, and then you're not dealing with your real emotions, and now you're just setting yourself up so when you go to sleep and go in the astral realm, you attract all these motherfucking shadows and demons and shit, and they just following you and playing in your life and shit because you ain't giving it no direction and no intention. You feel overwhelmed with so much information you don't know where to start, and so we're here like to simplify these things. But we can get into planetary magic and using that. We can get into sex magic, but I want to work through the shadows, work through the traumas and things like that. And I was hollering at my homeboy and homeboy slash teacher, you know what I'm saying? And he was just like, I think it'd be really great to deep dive into that aspect. And so we was talking about it, and I had been feeling that too. And so I was like, I agree, because some of the spiritual things that we want to do and probably already have been doing is dangerous because we haven't healed ourselves,
That's
and we
right.
got all of these leaking areas where we haven't, recalibrated, and taken back the parts of ourselves that we lost when we was shamed and embarrassed and abused and repressed.
That is
Yeah.
so true.
So I hope this was healing for y'all as it was for us. If you
Yes,
haven't been sleeping
indeed.
well, hopefully you have some beautiful sleep. Hopefully you had some beautiful ideas. Hopefully you want to connect with us deeper. Head over to Patreon. Like the more y'all connect over there, the more like we're gonna be giving y'all this stuff. And I'm telling you, the shit that's in the works now, it's stuff that you have probably never heard of or used and it actually gets outcomes, which is what's fucking amazing. Like I just be amazed.
That's
So we
right.
we getting it on. Like the messages is being channeled. You're getting your activations with the information. It activates you. So yes, you do got to follow through with some action so that you can hold that charge, hold that energy, and start recreating the blueprint of the energy and aligning with the DNA that is unlocking and awakening, and then start making some shit happen, right? Getting some products in your hands so you can really make some stuff
Turn
happen
up.
where people put their intention in it, and then you put your intention in the product that we put our intention in, and then it turns up the energy, right? and
Yeah.
we amplify one another. So yeah, you're a part of this thing. You ain't here for no reason. You're a part of this thing. Talk your big pyramid shit. It's necessary. This energy out here have you feeling all fucked up and shit. Y'all got issues just like we got issues. Everybody do. People just like love to floss and shit and act like they great and they good and masquerade. And I understand too, because you're afraid to be judged. You're this cancel culture. You're afraid to be lynched.
That's
Digitally lynched, you know. And so it's like we have to separate and like come back home to ourselves and be like, hold on, let me get back a hold to my power. Like something is happening here. I don't feel connected to my power.
That's right.
Do what you got to do to connect to yourself. So
That's right.
we are doing it on Patreon. We still will have webinars and events that we're doing as well, where you can bring your questions and we can do Q&As and we can get even more deeper in detail, because we know some of you probably have questions for us and you might not want to get a whole reading just for one question. So we're going to do that. If we get enough people interested, we're going to do that, because time is money, y'all. We can't be putting these things together unless we got the money to be able to do it and the time to be able to do it, so we can all get the benefit from it.
That's right. That's
So
right.
yeah, this is a collaborative thing, you know, happening on this planet. There is a oneness. We are not as separate as it seems. It's a fucking illusion. There is a oneness, and the shit that you do, it affects each and every one of us.
That's right.
We impact the environment. So we got to be responsible with this neuromelanin, this eumelanin that we carry. And we can't just be talking the talk, but at some point we got to walk the walk, and at some point we got to face the demons, and at some point we got to face them without fear, and just keep going back until you get to a place where there is no fear, and then love will fill in that place of this fear. And yes, it sounds really crazy that I'm telling you that your inner demon, your inner genius, is the place where you find that deep, authentic love of self. But yes, it is. We are in an upside down world.
That's
and the things that
right.
we should do, they told us not to do. And the things that we should not do, they told us to do. But hey, that's okay. We're figuring it out, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
So y'all, let's keep working on conjuring this intimacy.
absolutely.
Yes.
Now we want to announce the winner.
Yeah.
The winner. Like, we periodically ask y'all to send us testimonials, and we go through the testimonials, and the testimonials that just really move us, we take them and we put them the names in, and then I use my pendulum and I pick a name. And so the name that we picked tonight to win a free gift is Winter. So thank you, Winter, for your testimonial that you posted on the website.
Yes.
It really, really was touching and empowering, and it just gives us the
More inspiration.
Yep, the inspiration to keep going and keep doing it. So thank you, Winter. We will be getting that together for you this week and getting that gift out to you. We will continue to do this. So share y'all testimonials about your products and or your services or one of our webinars. Like, that's going to help us to continue to collaboratively create this energy on this planet where healing can happen for real, and we can stop fucking loving each other in a pseudo way and become the motherfucking intimacy conjurers that we came to be. We did not just come to experience the chaos. We came to create bliss, to conjure intimacy.
Yes.
And it is doable. You can do it. Like, you can do it. You're going to go up and down. But why not make your up like even more stronger and fortified and build and create when you in that space? You know, that's what it's about. So life will always have ups and downs.
That's right.
Yes. So that's what we're doing. Shout out to you, Winter. We will be messaging you through the website to make sure we're sending your stuff to the right address.
Thank you to our moderators.
Yes.
I think one Miss Love and Light is in the chat.
Thank
we
you,
appreciate
sis.
you, sis. Yeah, for all you're doing, and you do.
Absolutely. All right. So y'all already know what it is. I think this is everything that we wanted to go over. We got to get back to life and doing this work. We really been getting it in with this tantric practices and just seeing how deep can we go. And it's with Venus in retrograde, it's unnerving, but it's like it feels great to just even be approaching this. You know what I'm saying? And like how right. Exactly. It's just like for yourself, like how deep can you go? How much deeper can you love yourself? Let's just start there. All right, intimacy conjurer. So we're gonna keep getting it on, keep rocking it on the website. We will always send out notifications and updates. So if you're not getting them from here, go over to the website and make sure that you join and become a member. That's remnantsgathering.com. The link to the Patreon will always be in the videos after they process and uploaded. So if you want to find us on Patreon, that's how you can do it. Okay. If you go in our description on our Instagram, you can find our link to Patreon there.
Yes.
Slide on over there. I'm telling you, y'all ain't gonna want to miss out on the shit that's about to happen. And I don't want to brag too much, because but it's a big deal to me to help us activate these dormant energies within us. So yeah, I'm excited for where we're going. Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
definitely a big deal.
Yeah, we're a big fucking deal.
That's right.
And it's good to feel that way.
That's
yes,
right.
you are. All right, so y'all already know what it is.
Man, your third eye has just been kissed. Peace.